What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and a happy 100 days to everyone out there. Today marks the 100th day. Do you guys know what it is in the chat? Do you guys know what it is? What happened 100 days ago today? Can you let me know in the chat? Does anyone know what it is? Someone must get it quickly.
Surely.
Someone must get it. Historic day, which happened 100 days ago today.
Chris Agomba.
And there you go. It's not since Frank has gone.
I wish. It was 100 days since Frank has gone.
Today marks 100 days and since Spurs last won a game of football in the Premier League anyway. How crazy is that, 100 days?
We're still 2025 back then. I've got a few facts here about what was life like 100 days ago. What was life like 100 days ago? Spurs were 10th, 12 points above the relegation zone when we last won a game. Only 4 points off 5th.
Wow.
When we last won a game. Maresca and Ruben Amorim were still managing Chelsea and Man United respectively when we last won a game. Aston Villa were 2 points off Arsenal when we last won a game. They're now 17 points off Arsenal. Wolves were still on 2 points, having only drawn 2 of their opening 18 games. They're now on 17 points. Kudus and Bentancur were starting on that day for Tottenham. They've missed 3 months due to injury when we last won a game, and we still haven't won. Brennan Johnson, Kota Takai, and Dane Scarlett were all in the matchday squad.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
When we last won a game. Brennan Johnson's moved to Palace since and been playing for them for the last 3 months.
He's moved to Palace and flopped.
And he's already the worst transfer of all time when we last won a game. Mark Guehi was starting for Crystal Palace that day.
Wow.
He's since moved to Man City.
Jesus.
When we last won a game.
He's moved to Man City and won a trophy.
And won a trophy in the final. We have discovered 280 new types of animals.
Are you serious?
Since we last won a game.
280? Can you give me
There are 280 animals that now exist that didn't exist.
Like what?
I don't know. That's what Google tells me.
280 different species?
280 different species of animals.
Bloody hell.
Have been discovered since we last won a game of football.
How many and also someone's landed on the moon, haven't they?
Landed on the moon. Someone's gone further than ever been in space since we last won a game of football.
Oh, mate.
Happy anniversary to all you guys out there. 280
different species now. What's Google cooking over there,
280 different species. Anyone else have any more? What's happened in the last 100 days? Put it in the comments. We'll read them out periodically. And since Tottenham have last won a game, what has been going on? What has happened?
was Marseille manager, got sacked, and now he's Spurs manager.
Yep. Matthew Newman says, it's my 67th anniversary.
Congratulations to you. Newman. Big up to you, Nathan Newman. Big up.
If people have any more in the last 100 days, we'll put them in the comments. Big up to everyone. Petrol and gas was lower, and so was mortgage rates. Okay, I don't know if that's, you don't quite get the gist of what we're doing, but big up to you.
Anything else? Come on, there must be more. 100 days is a long time.
There's probably, I mean, it's hard to look these things up, but that's all I've got at the moment. Brennan, I should have done how many views we've got on YouTube in the last 100 days since we last won. Probably like 15 million or so. 10 million.
Yeah,
or so.
Around about. What was it? Yeah, about 12 to 15 million.
I liked watching Spurs 100 days ago.
Did you actually, though? Did you actually? I don't think we've enjoyed watching Spurs for a much longer time than 100 days, I'll tell you that.
I reckon the players have talked about this. Do you reckon the players are wishing each other happy anniversary?
Yeah, they all walked into Hotspur Way with a spring in their step saying,
I need one of those videos from, what's her name? Is her name Hannah? The social media girl.
Yeah, what about, yeah.
I want her to have a video like just wishing everyone happy anniversary when they walk into the training ground. Everyone looking confused. Well, what do you mean happy anniversary? It's 100 days since we won.
We got Alex THFC, aka Mr. Box Office, aka Mr. Deluded. He says Ben and Sim are deluded. Think Spurs will get of getting relegated. It is crap.
What?
So are we deluded for thinking we're going to get relegated, or are we deluded because we think we're going to stay up? I don't get that.
I think he thinks Spurs will get relegated. We're deluded for thinking we're going to get out of it.
Well, I reckon there's a mix of Mr. Box Office in each and every fan base, in the West Ham fan base and the Nottingham Forest fan base, that is saying the same thing. So
Ryan Butler says, my son couldn't walk when Spurs last won a game, and now he can run. God. Someone's learned to walk in the time that Spurs last won a game.
Yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Since Tottenham last won, a war mission to the moon, files released on Chelsea, charged 99 days of expressions crying. Okay.
Basically, a lot has happened.
A lot has gone on.
It's been 100 days since Spurs have last won a game. Arsenal have bottled 2 trophies in the last 100 days.
Yeah, Arsenal bottled 2 trophies.
Been to a cup final. They've lost to... Apparently, Arsenal, since 2020, have only beaten 1 Premier League opposition in the FA Cup.
Really?
How mad is that?
Who is it? I don't know.
I don't know who the Premier League opposition is.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Sounds like us.
No.
Who have we been in the Premier League in the last 5 years?
I don't think many either, to be honest.
Well, we always lose to Premier League teams.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. That's a lot has happened since Spurs have last won a game. We've got a Tottenham update to bring to you today. We're going to start off talking of a injury update to Mohamed Kudus. And ITK is on social media saying that Mohamed Kudus was doing his own individual sessions yesterday, he is still yet to return to full training with the squad. Interestingly enough, we've seen pictures doing the rounds of Maddison looking like he's already training with the squad. It's mad to think that he's training with the squad before Kudus. But with Kudus not training with the squad yet, like now, here on Tuesday, I find it hard to believe he's going to be playing on Sunday.
He might be involved. It depends when he's fully back. Obviously, we heard, I think, obviously Frank was in charge when he got injured, wasn't he? And he said he's aiming for that March international break to be fit. And what he was implying there was he was going to be ready, kind of touch and go for that international break, and he'll have those a couple of weeks to rest and be ready for the when the international break is over. So it's a bit of a dampener that the international break's now over and he's still not back, and he's still only doing individual training.
How many times have we seen these kind of updates, though?
We also, part of the ITK was that he's not rushing himself back because he doesn't want to injure himself for the World Cup. So he's being very careful, which is obviously not a great situation. Obviously, I understand it. World Cup's massive for players. That's the pinnacle of their career. So I understand that he doesn't want to, rush himself back in case he re-injures himself. But if we weren't in a World Cup season, would he have maybe been training already and maybe with the chance to play on Sunday? Is what it is, I guess. But look,
if there's any kind of worry of a recurrence of an injury, regardless of the World Cup, I'd prefer him to take a bit more time, because what if you come back for one game and then get injured and you're out for the rest of the season? Like, that doesn't do us any favours either. So I'd rather have him back in a few games' time, back to full fitness, and he can attack the last 5 games of the season, as opposed to bring him back now and have a risk of injury.
Yeah, but maybe he's being extra careful. Maybe he is ready, but he's just making sure that, he's being overly cautious. And who knows? I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that's a possibility. Look, let's just hope that he's in place for the run-in, because I think he's going to be such an important player for us in the last 7 games. I think for De Zerbi as well, the way he plays, I think Kudus is going to be crucial for that. He's really our only winger that we have in the whole squad, isn't he? That's Premier League standard. So let's hope. Look, let's hope he's involved on Sunday. You never know if he's back in training today or this week. He might be available for Sunday in some capacity, but it looks as like we definitely won't be available to start, which is a massive blow.
Yeah, I mean, I would hazard a guess to say there's a chance for him to be in the matchday squad, but even if he is in the matchday squad, it'll be like, just get some minutes in your legs towards the end of the game. I don't think he'll play a significant part in the game this weekend.
We'll see. I mean, at the moment, he's individual training, but we'll see by the end of the week.
Yeah. All right, so that's that. Let's talk about Vicario now, as there's been a significant update from Fabrizio Romano regarding him. Fabrizio says that Vicario is now expected to leave Tottenham this summer. Conversations between Inter Milan and Vicario have been positive. Vicario is focused on helping Spurs out as much as possible before the summer window, and then he is ready to return to Italy regardless of, I'm sure he's talking about whether Spurs stay up or down.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's something that's been rumbling on for months now in terms of Vicario. I think this is probably the best course of action. I don't think he's a goalkeeper that will fit what Roberto De Zerbi wants to do. I think there are a number of keepers out there that probably could come in and, you know, much better ball playing out the ability, playing out the back. So De Zerbi needs someone very comfortable on the ball, and Vicario is not that. So I think this is the best way to go. Yeah,
I think things have gone wrong for him, unfortunately. And I think his standing at Tottenham has fallen dramatically, especially in the last few months. Obviously, we don't really know how much the hernia injury has maybe played a part in that. It'll be interesting to see if he has a really strong end to the season, hernia-free, and he's injury-free, and we see him back to his best, whether attitudes will change towards him, and maybe the club might think, actually, do we need to get rid of him? Maybe, you know, will De Zerbi like him? So I think the end of the season will be telling. I don't think the decision's been made, but right now I think we've lost faith in him. He's maybe grown a bit disgruntled with first of all the club and maybe the lack of trust that he's got from us. I think because he's part of the leadership group. He had a brilliant, definitely first season, and then, well, I guess first 2 seasons he was pretty good, wasn't he? Especially when he came back from injury last year, he was pretty good. So I think maybe he feels like he's earned a bit more trust than the club are giving him. So maybe it's also going back to Italy, where there's going to be more eyes on him for the international team. Maybe he thinks that's probably best for him. Maybe he's more comfortable there. And Inter's a good club as well. Inter's a very big club. So fair enough if he wants to go back there. But I think these last 7 games, he could still, I think, earn that trust back potentially if he has a really good performances. But I wonder if we're looking at, you know, keepers like James Trafford potentially, or Verbruggen from Brighton as potential replacements.
Yeah, look, I've said multiple times this season, Verbruggen is a very good goalkeeper. Does have a mistake or two in him, like we've seen a couple of weeks ago for Brighton, but he's a young keeper. I think he's exactly what De Zerbi likes in terms of a profile from a keeper. I think even if Vicario has a strong end to the season, I'd still look to move him on. And you might even be able to push a few more million out of Inter Milan as well. So there's always going to be those question marks on Vicario. His ability to defend his box from set pieces, I think with the growing importance of set pieces and particularly corners in the Premier League, I think that's a big flaw in Vicario's game in terms of his strength from being able to use his body to really kind of push off those defenders and not get crowded out. I think he's a massive that's a massive flaw in his game, and as well as the playing out the back and being able to calmly play his way through. So I think that's always going to be a flaw in his game as well. So I would prefer just to move him on now and look for another keeper. Another keeper I've been actually really impressed with is the Southampton keeper, Peretz from you know,
he's a brave keeper as well.
He's looked really good. He's good on the ball. He's a really good shot stopper. He looks really strong from defending set pieces as well. I think Spurs should really have a look at him.
He's also good at playing out the back as well.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I said that. Yeah,
he's also good with his feet. So, I mean, I'm sure they'd take a look at everyone. No, there's no secrets anymore in football. But he's obviously one who was at Bayern Munich before.
Yeah.
Obviously, couldn't really displace Neuer or anything like that. But he's, you know, a lot of people have thought very highly of him. For some reason or another, he's found his way to Southampton. But he had a very good game on the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he was fantastic on the weekend. But I've been keeping a close eye on him this season for Southampton, and they absolutely love him down there. The Southampton fans are singing his praises every week. And
he's been in Jan, or was it he's been there the season?
I think he's been there for the whole season. Maybe it was in Jan. I can't remember, but I've been keeping an eye on him for the last few months. And there's these Southampton guys on YouTube, and they're just like, wow, this guy is way too good for us. Like, this guy is going to be going to a much bigger club sooner rather than later. And why can't that club be us?
Could be.
I really think Spurs should look at him, man.
I'm sure they have.
Well, they should continue to look at him, and they should consider him seriously for the role, because I think you look at his frame and his build as well, he just looks like a Premier League goalkeeper, doesn't he?
Definitely. Yeah, look, all I can say is on the weekend it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, and there's a reason Bayern wanted him at the time.
Yeah. And then there's him, there's Verbruggen. Someone's mentioned in the comments Trafford as well, who had a very good cup final.
I think he might be underrated, Trafford, because of how he started the season. Had quite a couple of bad games, but I think he's whenever I've seen him for City up after that, he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So I wonder. I think his obviously one of his big attributes is his ability to play out the back, and I think I think most clubs seem very interested in him. Like Newcastle nearly signed him in the summer. Whatever we want to say about our concerns about him, everyone seems to be very interested in him. Everyone he keeps getting touted for good moves, and obviously he got the City move, and then Donnarumma came in. So I wonder if they'd be open to letting him go this summer.
Be interesting. It all depends on how long they think Donnarumma's going to stick around for, because they brought him in for a reason, and then they quickly replaced him with Donnarumma, and Donnarumma's obviously one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, and potentially, you could look at him as signing of the season in the Premier League this year. He's been that good. So there could be an opportunity to get Trafford if he's desperate for that first team football straight away. So that's that. What are we going to look at next? There's been a report on Pape Matar Sarr out in Turkey. Not the most reliable sources out in Turkey, I'll tell you that.
Every time.
But they're saying that Galatasaray and Fenerbahce are both holding interest in Pape Matar Sarr for a summer transfer. What do you reckon about Pape? Does he have a future? I mean, he's still only 23. He's still so young, but we look at him like he's older.
Obviously, he has the future, but there is a bit of an elephant in the room this summer when it comes to how many players we have in that position. And obviously, we signed Gallagher. We now have, obviously, Gray's been outperforming Sarr. We have Sarr. We have Bentancur. Bergvall as well can play in the number 8 position. Obviously, you've also got Paulinho and Bissouma, but we're all assuming they're going to be off in the summer. They can obviously could be number 8s as well. So even if Paulinho and Bissouma leave, there's probably, if we're going to look to sign players of different profiles, there's going to have to be a bit of movement. So out of Sarr, Gallagher, Gray, Bergvall, and Bergvall and Bentancur, you might have to let 2 of them leave. Who, especially with no Europe next season, and who's going to leave? I mean, Gallagher just signed. Is he going to leave? I mean, maybe, but he did just sign. Gray's been our best performing midfielder.
You'd think it'd be Bissouma and Bentancur.
Bergvall ain't going anywhere. We don't want him to go anywhere. I mean, Bissouma's we think is going to go, but I mean, if we get a good offer, we might have to consider it.
The thing is with Pape, I think the next 2 midfielders at the door are going to be Bissouma and Bentancur.
And Paulinho.
Yeah, and Paulinho. But with Pape Matar Sarr, does he have the qualities required to flourish in this De Zerbi team? We know he's got a lot of energy. We know he can get up and down the pitch. But does he have that technical ability that De Zerbi needs from his midfielders?
I think he does. I think he was quite good under Ange for most of it, to be honest, especially at the start anyway. I mean, most people were good at the start. But I think, by and large, I think he adapted quite well to what Ange wanted. So I think the little short passing game, I think he's been improving on certain aspects. I know he's not had the best season, but who has? I think he definitely has the ability, for sure. I think he definitely has the ability. He's still quite young. I would like to keep him around, but at the end of the day, if we're planning a squad seriously and we want different profiles and we want different kinds of players, we can't afford to have so many number 8s. That's a reality. Something's going to have to give, and the cost of signing Gallagher for big wages, like we did, is we're going to have to move someone on who we quite like. And I think it might be Sarr.
Yeah, it'd be very frustrating. If I asked you today, who would you prefer to keep, Sarr or Gallagher? Who would you keep?
I mean, obviously, Sarr, I like Sarr more because he's been at Tottenham longer.
But
he's
who's
shown
a better
more on
player?
a Tottenham shirt. From what they've shown in their career, Gallagher. But what they've shown at Tottenham, Sarr. But have we seen the best of Gallagher?
Yeah, it's hard to judge Gallagher in a Spurs shirt because he's coming in literally our worst period ever.
Exactly. So, if I was making a decision tomorrow, I probably would sell Sarr, unfortunately. But I think surely he can find a better team than Fenerbahce and Galatasaray.
Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you?
And surely we can get decent money for him.
Yeah. What is decent money? How much do you reckon someone's picking up Sarr for?
Between 30 and 40?
Yeah, I think that's fair. 35 million for Pape.
I think there's a potentially 50, 60 multi-million-pound midfielder in there. But
Yeah,
unfortunately, the form he's on, you can't really demand that right now.
I mean, when he first broke in under Conte and he had that performance in the San Siro, and he's shown in kind of periods that wow, this guy can be an unbelievable player. But I still feel since joining Spurs, he hasn't shown that consistency, hasn't shown a consistent enough. Like he's had like patches, but never over the course of a season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true, and that's the reality. That's why we signed a midfielder. But obviously, I think I really like Sarr. I like his mentality. I like his personality. I think he's a very good player as well. I think he's got bags and bags of potential. And I think if we let him go, we might regret it. But then again, we have to let someone go.
Yeah.
And it might have to be Sarr, which I wouldn't want to do, but it might be necessary.
It all depends on who you're bringing in, doesn't it? Because you need to upgrade. If you can upgrade on anyone in the squad, I'll be more than happy to get rid. There's not one player in the squad that I feel like if we can upgrade on them, then why not? Like, so I think this time for he's a good attitude around the squad. He walks around with a smile on his face, a bit sentimentality about what we think he can be in the future. Like, forget all that. If we can upgrade on someone, let's go and do it.
So I was like Gallagher going for all those intangibles.
I know, it's true. But anyway, that's that. What do you guys think about Pape? Would you like to keep him around, or do you think he is definitely upgradable and because he hasn't reached maybe what we thought he would have reached by this age, but he is still very young and he's still got a lot of growing to do. Let's talk about Radu, as there's been some more reports on Radu Drăgușin out in Italy, and they're saying Tottenham are expected to look for around 25 million euros if they are to sell Radu Drăgușin this summer. And Serie A side Fiorentina are taking an interest. They were interested in back in January, and Fabio Paratici is expected to revive the interest in him as when this summer comes around.
Fabio's man.
Yeah.
You can have him, Fabio. You can have him.
Well, there was a report yesterday that Spurs are interested in a Fiorentina centre-back.
No, it's Moise Kean.
Oh, Moise Kean. Yeah, that was it, Moise Kean. So maybe there's a bit of a deal to do there.
Maybe.
Fabio loves a deal like that.
I would take that 100%. I'd rather have Moise Kean as centre-back than Drăgușin. So, yeah, I would like to sell him. I think, for me, not good enough for Tottenham. I don't think De Zerbi's going to like him at all. I think he's nowhere near good enough for what De Zerbi wants to do. I think same with Ange. He didn't like playing under Ange, really. Albeit, obviously, I'm being quite harsh because he has had the ACL. And it's obviously a very difficult injury to come back from.
He's no De Zerbi centre back, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, just judging from what I've seen from him, I don't think he's going to be comfortable playing in the system that we're going to want to play.
Yeah, I mean, if we would have carried on in the same kind of route of Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor, I think Radu could have grown into a team like that. But now we're going back to the high line, back to attacking football. Yeah, Radu needs to be sold. That's the reality. Next up, let's talk about some potential incomings. Fisnik Aslani, Builder reporting that Tottenham and Chelsea are keen to bring in Hoffenheim's Fisnik Aslani to the Premier League in the summer. Both Tottenham and Chelsea could pose a problem for Borussia Dortmund and their efforts to sign the striker, as Borussia Dortmund are looking to potentially move on Sergio Guirassy if the price is right this summer. The Kosovo international has scored 10 goals and has 8 assists in 29 matches in the Bundesliga this season.
Bundesliga tax, though.
Say that about every Liga.
Yeah. I got confused because this isn't the guy that was at Inter. But I think who was that? Aslani, that was a midfielder, centre mid.
No, it's a different guy.
Yeah, I liked him. I think he was quite good, but I think he's moved on from Inter now. But this is a different guy. I don't know much about this guy.
That guy from Inter is the guy we were linked with under Conte.
Yeah, I quite liked him. But Fisnik Aslani, I don't know too much about him, not going to lie.
Yeah. Look, he's a young striker. I believe last year he was in the Bundesliga 2 and absolutely smashed it out. The year before he was back in the Bundesliga, not as strong. But yeah, he seems to be a player growing. But again, I don't really know too much about him. But it probably says a lot if the reports are true that if Dortmund want him to replace Sergio Guirassy, he must have something about him.
Yeah, but at Dortmund they like to develop those players, don't they?
Yeah, they usually do a good job at it.
True.
And finally, Spurs are looking to go back in for Crescencio Summerville. There's a report here from Team Talk saying that Tottenham are leading the race to sign Summerville ahead of the summer transfer window, and they face competition from a host of Premier League clubs. And there's a publication in Italy that are saying that West Ham are willing to cash in on Summerville for a fee as low as €30 million in the summer, amid widespread interest from the winger. Villa, Brentford, Bournemouth, Everton and Tottenham are eyeing moves for the Dutchman, while Marseille, Napoli, Atalanta and Villarreal are also interested in Summerville.
Who isn't?
Yeah, look, we were obviously
Europe.
interested in him in January, weren't we? And they didn't want to let him go, which was, you know... And ever since that, he's gone on leaps and bounds this season. He was having such a poor season up until that moment, and then he just clicked into gear. Do you feel like this is the guy we should be signing in summer?
I think he's shown, definitely in the last few months, that he's at home at the Premier League, because I think there was definitely doubts about that. We know he killed it in the Championship for Leeds. He was brilliant. And even in the Premier League for Leeds, he was quite good. But went down to Championship, blew him out of the water. Ever since he's gone to West Ham, though, been very consistent, hasn't really got his rhythm going. He's struggled for regular goals and assists and threat. But then in the last few months, he's been electric. I've been watching West Ham, obviously, because taking a close eye on our relegation rivals. And he has been phenomenal. More than that, when he's not been playing, West Ham don't seem half as good when he's not there. So he's a major element to their attack. And when they've got that dual threat of Bowen and Summerville, they look a completely different team. They seem to really lack threat when Summerville's not there. So looking at the impact he's making, clearly he's really grown into that role at West Ham and become one of their main attackers, and is doing really well at the moment. Not necessarily say I would sign him for Tottenham. I mean, at his best, he is a very good player, and we've seen that. And some of the goals he's been scoring have been brilliant goals. So maybe this is a guy who's still 24, as you can see, who is coming into his own at the moment, and maybe we should look at him. I probably would look at him. I don't think I would sign him as like our starting left winger, but I think if there's a good deal to be done there, I think I'll look at it. But I don't think West Ham are going to give. I mean, they did give us a decent deal with Kudus, I guess, but
depends if they go down.
I mean, I'd rather get Matoma or something like that.
If they go down, there's no reason why we can't take him off their hands.
Yeah, but if we're believing this report, I doubt we're going to be the only club interested.
Yeah, well, this report does say we're not the only club interested,
Yeah.
but look, it all depends on what he wants as well. Does he want to stay in London? Does he want this? Does he want that? I think it all depends on who Spurs get rid of this summer as well. Let's say Tell wants to leave and he does leave this summer. That leaves the opportunity to go get a couple left wingers, unless Mikey Moore comes back in the frame next season. I don't know. But like, let's say you go into next season as your two left wingers with Summerville and Moore. That's not good enough for me. Like,
No.
we need better than that. And Summerville needs to be that kind of rotation option, not the guy that we have to rely on week in, week out, in my opinion. I like Summerville. I think, like, when he was at Leeds, I thought he was a really exciting prospect. When we spoke about him in January, I wasn't that convinced because he was just having such a poor season and scored a Premier League goal up until the point we had the interest. And then he's kind of done really well since then. So I wouldn't be mad at it, but I would be mad at it if he's our, like, only left winger option, basically.
Which I think will probably be the case, because I don't know if we'll sell Tell this summer. Maybe we will, but I think we're still going to keep him on. He wouldn't be my first choice. He's kind of like down the list. He'll be maybe fifth or something.
Who's better, Tell or Summerville?
Who's
Surely
better?
Summerville.
Summerville's better at the moment, yeah.
Has he got a high ceiling?
Tell. It's tough to say. I think when Summerville was Tell's age, he was probably performing better, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Tell, you know, there's a lot of reasons why it hasn't quite worked at Tottenham. But I think he's been all right this season when he's played. I don't know. I think they're probably similar level, to be honest.
Yeah. We need better. We definitely need better. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news that we have spoken about today. What are you guys saying in the chat? You guys want Mitoma. Mitoma or Njai are the ones, aren't they, in the Premier League?
They're just the obvious picks, aren't they?
Yeah.
Premier League proven. You know, how they've played for their clubs has been brilliant. And Ndai's really had a bit of a breakout season this season as well. Probably gettable for the right price. So they're the ones that immediately you look at. Obviously, if we're being a bit creative, we should find players maybe who aren't as fancied, but we've done that before maybe and it hasn't quite worked out. But maybe with De Zerbi here, with a change in recruitment, maybe we can find some players which go under the radar a bit. But obviously, if we're just going for tried and tested and, if we lack imagination, those are probably the signings we make, yeah.
I'm looking at a Mitoma, right, with him going into the final year of his contract. What other clubs, like let's say top 6 clubs, I know we're battling relegation, but he would see Tottenham as a step up from Brighton.
I don't think any of the top 6 clubs go for him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so are we the kind of ceiling for a Mitoma?
Unless maybe a Villa. I mean, because who they playing out there at the moment? Sancho? No. Who are they playing?
He barely even plays Sancho.
Who are they playing out on the left? Like, they play Rodgers there sometimes. I think Mitoma probably gets in a Villa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Newcastle have got that position pretty well covered. I don't think any of the top 5 go for him.
What about a Chelsea?
I don't think Chelsea go for him. That's not their model, is it? They don't go for a 29-year-old.
Yeah. It's not our model either.
No, but we're looking to move away from that a bit.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be
Chelsea
surprised.
love a deal from Brighton.
They do, but they're not going to go for Mitoma. I'm telling you that. They're not going to go for Mitoma. I think we would as like a one-off kind of thing. I don't see us signing a bunch of 29, 28-year-olds, but maybe one. And I think Mitoma could be that one. But then you've also got to come to terms with the fact that he's 29. I'm not saying he's over the hill by any stretch. I'm just saying wingers of that kind of age do start to decline quite rapidly. And you do get the odd, Salah or Son even, who's still quite good at that age. But most of the time, once a winger who relies on pace and trickery, like Mitoma, once they get to that kind of age, it's very rare that they're at the top of the game for more than a year or two. So you've got to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
but I might, if it's a cheap deal with a year left in his contract, I might go for it.
Yeah, like a 3-year deal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Let's go react to some comments now. Obviously, you guys have been brilliant once again. Well, I say brilliant. Let's see what the comments say, and then I'll reserve my brilliant comment till after. See if you're brilliant or not.
All right. Well, there's been a lot happening. Derby's first training session. We had a Brighton fan on, and a lot of people have been commenting with what we've had to say. Liam W 6295. He says, if Vuskovic wants to stay another season at Hamburg, then he signs a new contract to extend another year. No point letting him wind down another year of the current one. I think that's a good point. I think we tell Vuskovic, if you want to stay, you've got to sign a new deal. If not, you'll come back to Tottenham. I think giving him that kind of ultimatum is fair.
So, if he goes for another year, that means he'll be back in 2027, which will leave him 3 years left on his deal. So yeah, he's got a deal till 2030. So yeah, I'm bang up for that.
I mean, maybe you should give a new contract anyway. But
if he wants to go to Hamburg, you need to sign an extra 2-year deal.
Yeah, I think that's fair because it's another year on his deal going up, and what do we get out of that apart from his development, which is obviously good?
That is quite major.
No, it's good, but like we could have used him next season, let's say, and we're letting him develop him, but also for him as well to play with his brother. But we want him back at Tottenham, so we want that security. Albeit he'll still have 3 years, so it's not like he's a lack of security, but I think it puts us in a better situation if he signs that deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have no problems with that whatsoever. Sign up or come back.
Yeah, I think that's good. Next up, Andy Lloyd says, always makes me laugh that ENIC are happy to spend 60 million paying off managers, but won't spend the extra 2 to 5 million to get certain key transfers over the line.
Well, I don't think they're happy to pay off managers 60 million.
Well,
It's just what they do. It's just what they do.
Yeah, I think obviously it's a bit of a different, obviously it's a very different situation when you've got a player, right, and you've got to spend that money. It's a decision you have to make there and then, isn't it? Because the transfer window is quite short. You're in those negotiation phase. It's kind of like you have to use that bargaining chip to either spend the extra money or you hold firm on your price and hope that the other club blink first, basically. When it comes to managers, obviously they're at your club already, and when it comes to paying them off, it's like an ongoing situation where every week there's calls to let the manager go, And then eventually we end up spending the money, but that comes from a whole kind of build up to it, doesn't it? Rather than these transfers. So I think I understand the point. I'd much rather the club spend more on transfers or spend more smartly on transfers rather than every time spending massive fees on sacking and then hiring new managers and coaching staff and everything. I think down the years, the amount we spent on coaches when we could have just given that money to the coaches and for transfers is probably crazy.
Yes and no. I mean, obviously we could have given all that money to Pochettino and the rest could have been history, but like you could give all that money to the wrong coach as well and that having it to end up via that coach anyway. So it's all about giving the money to the right coach. Yeah. Let's say we gave all that money. Well, we did give a lot of money to Thomas Frank. You know, we had to fire him anyway because he was failing at his job. So it's all about finding the right coach and giving him the war chest. Because if you give a war chest to the wrong coach, you're going to have to spend double as much.
Should have given it to Ange. Chief and Chips says this is reacting to our video watching De Zerbi's first training session. He says, I couldn't watch this. It's like Daigle over Frank. He says we're Daigling. It's like we're like Daigle was with Frank with De Zerbi. That's what he's saying. We're doing a Daigle. We're Daigling.
Fair point.
Yeah, that's what he's going to call. When everyone fawns over a manager now, they're going to call it Daigling.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I think look, you can get excited without, you know, saying this is the future and we're definitely staying up and we're going to be back in European football after next season. Yeah, we can do all those things, but it's just like, how many times are we going to do it? It's just like... Every time
there's a new manager, we're going to do it.
It just gets a bit tiresome, man. Like, let's just wait and see how it goes.
The Daigle Dangle.
The Daigle Dangle.
We're doing the Daigle Dangle.
You do the Daigle Dangle and you turn around. That's what it's all about.
Daigle, you've become a verb. You've become a word. The Daigle, we're Daigling. Who else is Daigling over De Zerbi? Let me know in the comment section. Let's see where we are now. Sunny says, here we go again. It has already started. Oh, he's the top manager. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. He plays this way. I didn't hear when it was Frank and many other managers before. Just wait when they lose the game and melt down and the manager is shit.
It's true, man. It's so true. Like,
that's the cycle of being a Tottenham fan, though. That's how it is.
It is, but let's break the cycle, man. Let's just wait and see what happens.
There's no breaking the cycle.
Yeah, you can break the cycle.
It's not possible. You got to get
excited. You can break it.
That's the whole point of football. If you're not going to get excited by a new manager, there's no point following watching football.
It is when you've been stung the amount of times we've been stung.
So you're not excited with De Zerbi?
I am excited, but I'm not. I'm not.
That's it.
But I'm going into it with my eyes wide open this time, though. My eyes are wide open because I know it's going to end up crashing and burning. I was saying we're going to stay up before De Zerbi.
True. But now you have extra belief. Is he getting out of Europe next year?
Yeah, hopefully.
There we go. The deluded excitement. That's what it's all about.
It shouldn't be deluded to say Spurs are going to qualify in Europe next season with no European football.
That's where we are. I think every football fan has a healthy sense of delusion. I think that's what it's all about. You've got to be a bit deluded about your own club to be a football fan. I think
you should be.
You should be. That's what support is.
Exactly. Enough of the truth bombs.
Exactly. Tiger Tony says there is no doubt that he did a great job at Brighton, but then again, Frank did a great job at Brentford. Managing Spurs, however, is a whole different ball game. Still, at least we haven't lost the game for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there was this kind of narrative about Frank from people when he came in saying he's never managed in Europe. He's done well at Brentford, but what else has he done in his career? What's De Zerbi ever done in Europe?
In Europe? I think he's only been there with Marseille and Brighton. And Brighton, I think he got to the quarters, did he? In the Europa League, and then lost. Marseille, they got knocked out of the groups. Got grouped.
And also, like...
a 24-man.
Everyone was saying about Frank, like, how he's never won anything. De Zerbi's also never won anything, really.
Ukrainian Super Cup.
Yeah, the Charity Shield in Ukraine, great.
No, that's all true. But I think the difference is how...
It's the style of play.
Style of play. That's it. And I think that's an important distinction. That's the most important distinction. as to how that manager is going to do at your club. I think when it comes to Prem proven or what they've won, all this kind of stuff, I think that's all kind of noise surrounding what people think. I think all those things don't mean anything. They don't mean anything, in my opinion. What means something is how the quality of the manager, the football they play, their personality, and their quality. That's what really matters.
The thing is, right, what we were saying about Frank, well, what a lot of people were saying about Frank was that he's turning us into Brentford stylistically, and that's not what this club should be, where he wants to do what he did at Brentford, just with better players. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. But if De Zerbi tries to do what he did at Brighton with better players, then that's more palatable, isn't it?
100%. I think that's what we want. I think Brighton played like a big club. And just unfortunately, they couldn't quite obviously get to the heights, and they did have quite good players in certain positions, but their model, I think, always prevented them from really competing with the big clubs. But under De Zerbi, they played like a dominant Big Six team. That's how they played. That's the football they played. Brentford never did that. They never ever did that. Don't get me wrong, they competed, and they competed against better clubs than them and all that kind of stuff, but they never played the kind of football like we're a big club, we're going to be dominant over you or anything like that. That's never how they played.
Yeah, they go toe-to-toe, Brighton. Brentford don't go toe-to-toe, they hit on the transition.
Yeah, exactly.
And they try to find the spaces. They did it very well, don't get me wrong, they got some really good results. But Brighton, when you're playing against that Brighton team, they'll go toe-to-toe with you.
Brentford always played like a plucky underdog, outperforming themselves. That's how they played. Brighton played like they're the big dog, they're one of the big teams in the league. That's how they played. Even though they weren't, that's how they played. And that's what he wants to bring to Tottenham. Jack Lane, 3679, says, Xavi, Bergvall and Gray should have been our primary midfield all season. We'll never forgive Frank for wasting months of this season with Xavi and Gray rotting on the bench, while Bergvall was rotating further forward to deal with long balls, presumably because he's kind of tall. Killed the development of our biggest midfielders and took minutes off attackers like Moani and Tell, who needed time on the pitch to bed in as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of the handling of some of these players this season from Frank was nothing short of disgraceful. You want to look at Xavi, like, to have him as your number 10 or out left, wherever he played him, and just have no one in any sort of vicinity around him. There was just no support for Xavi whatsoever for the majority of times he played in the Premier League this season. You're looking at Lucas Bergvall, completely misprofiled by Thomas Frank, playing him everywhere but pretty much his favoured position. We've seen him out on the wing, out on the left wing at times, in the 10. No, he's an 8. That's where he should be playing. That's where he thrived last season under Ange Postecoglou, and we barely saw him there for Thomas Frank this season. So Thomas Frank, 100%, he did a lot of players no favours in terms of development. Tell as well.
Tell. How many times did we say with Tell, he's playing well, give him minutes, and he wouldn't be in the squad or wouldn't be in the team?
And also that there was times where Odebear looking like really good and looked like, he was getting to grips with things, and benched for like 3-4 weeks, not to be seen.
I never understood some of Frank's decision making. And then on top of that, the football we were playing was just diabolical. And I really think the way he played hampered a lot of the players' development. I really believe that. Era of Not Tomorrow says Sim Postecoglou and Ben Kaufman.
Shouldn't it be Ben Postecoglou? Because I'm always coughing.
Ben Postecoglou. Is that a play on the fact that Ben coughs a lot, or are you sounding like Ben Kaufman? If you smell what the cough is brewing.
Yeah, my cough's been pretty bad over the last couple of days.
It's been bad. People are starting
to notice. Better today, though. It's better today. Have not coughed once in this stream.
True. There's still time. Dropkick Your Teacher says, we're seriously getting excited for training footage.
Yeah.
Obviously. What do you mean? Of course we are. We can't get excited with the game, can we?
Literally, Spurs haven't played in 3 weeks. We're starving. We need to watch. Exactly. Did you not see that way that Bergvall skinned Paulinho alive?
Yeah, look at that finish from Richarlison. Like, as I've said, as long as Tottenham don't play, we can get as excited as we want.
Exactly. It'll all come crashing down on Sunday, but
100%.
I think, did you not see the way that De Zerbi put his arm around Bergvall?
Guarantee within a minute we're going to play their striker for on goal with a bad mistake. And then bam, 1-0, and all the excitement dissipates. Timu says, Paulinho isn't as bad technically as people think. He scored a few bangers for us this season, so I'm sure De Zerbi can teach him how to pass a ball accurately.
Yeah, maybe. I think we saw a few technical glimpses in the training footage from Paulinho as well.
Bit of control.
So
I mean, he is a professional footballer after all. I think
you don't get this far in the game without being able to pass a football.
I think it's not necessarily that he can't pass. It's more under pressure when he's got players around him and he needs to have the vision to make an accurate pass or a progressive pass. He always either plays it safe or out of play. That's the reality. That's what we've seen. Now, maybe it is a lack of options. Maybe it is, the setup from Frank or Tudor that's really been hampering him. So we'll have to wait and see about that. I think, obviously, if you give any Premier League, any footballer in the Premier League time and space, they can all pass the ball and they can all, do the things. It's all about doing it under pressure with little time and little space. And Paulinho has definitely struggled to do that, from what I've seen.
And I imagine, I don't know as a fact, but I imagine that's why he couldn't get to grips with it at Bayern. Because obviously he was brought there as a big signing from Company. We know the way Company likes to play. He needs his midfielders to be able to take it on the half turn and be able to distribute the ball quickly under pressure. And he wasn't able to do that, so he wasn't able to get the minutes.
Yeah. Dropkick your teacher again, and he's responding to our video about we were talking about Johan and Vinay and all the stuff the club are pumping out yesterday. And he says, club propaganda at its finest, and you guys are falling for it. While it might be true, if we weren't in a relegation battle, you wouldn't be hearing any of this. I think he's talking about maybe as well the fact they said De Zerbi's going to get all this control and everything. He's just saying it's propaganda from the club.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I said it. I think I said it on the video yesterday. It's just like every time there's a new manager, every time there's some sort of breaking or some crisis at Tottenham, you always hear things are about to change. This one's going to get power. We've got 150 million pound war chest, all this kind of garbage.
It was only, a few months ago, summer of change, remember? Everything's getting ripped up and now ripping it up again and starting again.
Yeah.
Apparently. Anyway.
Every summer's going to be the summer of change until they finally get it right.
Yeah. That's the big problem. But that's the problem with when you make so much change like we have, Levy gone, lots of new heads of departments, all this kind of stuff. The reality is it might take time to implement it, but you have to believe in it. Now, obviously, the way things are going at Tottenham right now, you're going to get criticism from the fans, and you're going to get a lot of criticism coming from the media and left, right, and centre. And so there might be a big temptation to start it all again, and that might be the right thing to do because maybe you have just completely gone the wrong direction. And judging by the evidence, you have. But the problem is, you can also, like we maybe have in the last few years, and I think Chelsea suffered from this a bit. You do get a bit stuck in a cycle where you make a lot of change. It doesn't work immediately because when you do change a lot of things, it might take a bit of time to really reap the rewards. You don't see those rewards quick enough. You then make a whole new bunch of changes because it hasn't worked, and then that takes time. And then because that hasn't worked immediately or hasn't improved things immediately, you then make even more change. You get stuck in this cycle where things aren't changing quick enough, but every time you change it takes even longer for things to get better. So you want to obviously be wary of being stuck in that cycle, for sure. But the way things are for us, I mean, it's so bad. I think you probably do have to make major changes. But I'm just saying there is a fear for that, isn't there? And I don't know how do you know you're in that cycle unless you get out of it?
You need to be able to see the green shoots. Like, as much as they did it at Chelsea, Arsenal was a key example of how to do it right, isn't it? Because they had this big change. Arsene Wenger was, a big voice at that club. He had so much control over everything. And when he went, they were just like in the wilderness for a little bit. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know which direction to go. Stan Kroenke and everything, they seemed completely lost and clueless, and there were big protests against the board at Arsenal. And then after that happened, Josh Kroenke took complete control and Stan took a step back, and they started pumping quite a bit of money in the club. They hired Arteta, and even when it was going wrong in the opening few years, I think behind the scenes they still saw green shoots of what Arteta was trying to do, and they stuck with their convictions, and they saw light at the end of the tunnel, and now they're at where they're at. 9 points clear at the top of the league. Still haven't won anything, by the way, but still, they're looking like in very good shape in terms of moving forward into the future. So you need to see green shoots. You need to make sure that the manager at the helm is the right guy to take the club forward. I think that's the main thing, and the recruitment behind him has to be absolutely top notch. and spot on. Whereas at Chelsea, I don't think they've ever had the right manager at the helm or someone that aligns with the board's vision. The recruitment has been completely wish-wash. They don't know what they want with their recruitment. They're bringing in 15 players a season, selling 15 players a season. It's just been completely wrong, the way that they manage that situation. As much as it pains me to say it, the Arsenal model is probably the way that, you know, clubs looking to build should look at.
Yeah. And it's also why going for Thomas Frank to replace Ange in the summer was the worst thing we could have done, in my opinion, because we're going in a certain direction, not necessarily because of Ange, the manager, I'm just saying the way you're playing, what we were trying to do, younger players, a style of play. You know, there was also reports when Ange said that all the different youth levels are playing the same way of football and all this kind of stuff to give continuity. So we're going in that direction, and then you sack Ange and bring someone in like Frank, who's just completely different and a different style of play and a style of play not that the fans can't even get behind. But regardless of that, it was just very different to what we were doing before. If we would have gone straight from Ange to Zerbi, it would have been more of a continuation and maybe an upgrading. But going for someone like Frank completely ripped everything up, and now we're in the situation we're in now because I think that decision, it was such a poor
Can we just
decision.
pretend the Frank tenure didn't happen and then now we're just going on the same path?
I wish. SXZC says difference with De Zerbi is that at least he goes onto the pitch and trains with the players. Ange and Frank never do that. They just cross their arms and look. Sometimes you need a manager who goes out there and shows them exactly how to do what he wants them to do, instead of doing motivational speeches or moving magnets on a tactics board. You need to understand not all of the players speak the same language. It's hard to get your ideas across with words, and showing them is still the best way to instill your style of football. I think that's a fair point. I mean, I didn't think of that, because obviously you have most managers, you have coaches and stuff, but from what we've seen, obviously we're not privy to all the training sessions and everything. So I'm sure they are being told quite detailed stuff in the training sessions even before De Zerbi. But I do like that De Zerbi, he will physically show you himself what position to be in, what your body shape would be. He doesn't rely on just saying things to people and the communication. He does shout it and stuff, but he'll physically do that. He'll physically be very specific with his body language as well. And I do think language is not something I even thought of, but I think that's quite a good thing.
And he can speak quite a few languages, De Zerbi, I believe, as well. Italian, English, maybe there's more as well. So, I do think this team do need like a hands-on manager. And the last time we had a hands-on manager like that, Antonio Conte, like he got to grips with things so quickly, didn't he? And the form just changed like pretty much on a knife edge. And that's probably the last time that we've seen the most consistent form we've had in the league since post-Poch, that second half of the season under Antonio Conte. So, look, I think the players will take to it. I really do. But it's all about the long term and see how we can get it working within the long term. But in the short term, I do think results can change. I really believe that. Yeah,
I agree. That's it.
All right. Well, that is the way that you have been commenting on the channel. Keep it going, people, because we'll keep reacting to your comments. But I think that's that. I think that's it from us today. Not long to go till De Zerbi takes his first press conference at Tottenham Hotspur. I believe 1:30 on Friday is the time of the press conference, and we'll bring it to you as soon as that drops. But still got a few more days before then, so a lot more content coming your way.
So how many days are going to be when we play Sunderland? We're 105. Let's hope it ends at 105 days, people.
Let's hope so. Because we're coming for the win this weekend, people. But thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you all tomorrow for another day. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.